All right, so we have made it to our last and final chapter of culinary math, which is kitchen ratios. So in this unit, you're going to learn how to calculate ingredient quantities using a ratio. So ratio is 3 parts per 1 part. So there's different scenarios, but it will make more sense to you as we start going through. So how are you going to use these ratios? So a ratio is described in parts, as I just said, that must be the same unit of measure. All right, it has to be equal. So you can use this in a lot of different recipes, but a mirepoix is a perfect example. When you're making a mirepoix, it needs to be equal parts of carrot and celery, and then 2 parts of onion. So 50% of onion, 25% of celery, 25% of carrots. All right, and that's the breakdown. And you can reference, like if we're going to do 4 total cups of mirepoix, we're going to make 2 cups of it onion, 1 cup celery, 1 cup carrot. That's how you would refer to it. Okay. So how are you going to break this down and use this information? So first step, determine the total quantity to be made. So you can look at the yield, look at the unit, etc. Number 2, you're going to find the total number of parts in the ratio. Sometimes it gives it to you, sometimes it doesn't. Number 3, you're going to find the amount per part by dividing the total quantity to be made by the total number of parts. Again, it's going to make much more sense when I show you the examples. And then step number 4, with step number 3 being done, you're going to find the amount of each ingredient by multiplying each ingredient by the amount per part. Again, it will make more sense when we apply. So here's your first example. You're going to be making 10 gallons of soup. For every 1 gallon of soup, you need 1 pound of mirepoix. How many pounds of each of the ingredients should be used in the mirepoix for the soup? So step 1, you're going to make 10 gallons of soup, and you need 1 pound of mirepoix. So how are you going to write that up? Well, for every gallon, you need a pound. We need 10 gallons. So you're going to do 10, okay, because we need 10 gallons of soup times 1 pound, because there's 1 pound in 1 gallon. And you're going to need a total of 10 pounds of mirepoix. Okay, so that's how we set that up. All right, so step number 2, you're going to find the total number of parts in the ratio, which I gave it to you on the first slide, but just breaking it down, you need 2 parts onion, 1 part celery, 1 part carrot, so you have a total of 4 parts. Step 3, you're going to find the amount per part by dividing the total quantity to be made by the total number of parts. Okay, so you're going to determine the quantity in this case of each part. So you're going to take the total weight, 10 pounds, okay, of mirepoix, and you're going to divide that by the 4 parts, because there are 4 parts in your mirepoix. And you can see when I divide those together, I'm going to get 2.5 parts. So 1 part is going to be equivalent to 2.5 pounds. All right. Again, if you have any questions, ask your teacher. All right. So you're going to make this 10 gallons of soup. Step 4, you're going to find the amount of each ingredient by multiplying each ingredient by the amount per part. So 2 parts times 2.5 pounds, you're going to have 5 total pounds of onion. Do the same thing for celery, 1 times 2.5, 2.5 pounds of celery, and then 2.5 pounds of carrot. You add it all together for a total of 10 pounds of mirepoix. Okay, and it works with our ratio, works with our percentages, etc. All right. Now, when the total amount to be made is unknown, so if we didn't know that we're making 10 pounds or whatever, you are going to have to follow a couple different steps. Step 1, you'll find the amount per part by dividing the amount that you know by the number of parts it represents. And then step 2, you're going to multiply the amount per part by the number of parts of each of the remaining ingredients. So you kind of are like solving for X, essentially. All right, so let's see what this all means. All right, so you are working in a cafe and you need to make pie dough. You have 5 pounds of butter. How much flour and liquid should you add to the butter to have the correct ratio for the pie dough? So a pie dough ratio is 3 parts flour, 2 parts fat, 1 part liquid, okay? So we already know that we have 5 pounds of butter, all right? So you're going to divide the 5 pounds of butter by the number of parts of fat represented in the ratio. So 2 is your magic number here. There's 2 parts of fat. So you're going to take 5 pounds, divide by 2, and you're going to get 2.5 pounds per part. Okay, so that is how you're going to calculate the other 2 ingredients. Okay, so you're going to take your 3 parts of flour times 2.5, because that's the amount per part. You're going to get a total of 7.5 pounds of flour. You have your 5 pounds of fat, which was already provided to you. And then for liquid, you're going to do your 1 part liquid times 2.5, and you have 2.5 pounds of liquid is that amount. All right, so that is how you calculate that. Now here are your 2 written practice problems. You are going to watch the written practice problem video to check your work. If you have any questions, let your teacher know. Thank you.